Good evening. Well, it has to be said that one of the greatest spectator sports in the world are Indian elections. And in Indian elections, two big days, of course, counting day is one day which gets everyone really excited and energized as the votes start to come in. And the second one is this evening. Voting is over, so exit polls can come out, and every channel virtually comes in and has their own set of exit polls. And some channels like this say, well, exit polls are often wrong, so perhaps it's safer and better to just actually report what a lot of the other people have been doing. Now, interestingly, in this particular case today, there seems to be an almost surprising extent of unanimity in all the exit polls, not just in the broad trend, which perhaps may be expected, but even in the exact numbers that they are portraying. So if you've just switched on your TV set, don't go away anywhere, because the next three, four minutes, we're going to summarize for you what every exit poll has said through the evening right now. And here they are. Let's start flashing up the numbers for you one by one, and then we'll get our guest to take us through all the various implications. So here we have it. Here are the numbers coming up. So you have the Times number, which says about 109 for the BJP. Then you have Republic, which is 108. News Nation, they're changing really fast. News Nation, the one outlier, gives the BJP about 124 to 128. The Aaj Tak exit poll has a very wide range. But if you take the midpoint of that, it's again that 107, 108 number. India TV is something similar, 104 to 114. All of them, as you can see, pretty much are coming out and giving the BJP in that range, somewhere between 104, 105 to 113, 114. That's roughly the range which everyone is giving the BJP. And the Congress, therefore, is somewhere between that 64, 65 number, maybe a little bit higher. What does that mean for the poll of exit polls? If you were to actually do the mathematical exercise of summing them up and dividing it, well, that number is going to be coming up right now for you. Actually, let me just first take you through Himachal Pradesh before I do that for you. Himachal Pradesh, again, an extremely high degree of unanimity. Virtually everyone is saying that it is a complete BJP sweep in Himachal Pradesh. 42 to 50 is what NewsX has said. News Nation 43 to 47. Aaj Tak Axis 47 to 55. I mean, you get the general drift of it. The poll of exit polls comes up at about 48. Congress way behind at 19. I don't actually think there's been much debate about this over a period of time. I think Himachal has almost ceased to be an issue for quite some days, because people are almost assuming it is going to be a BJP landslide out there. Well, let me start by welcoming all of our guests. Pawan Khera is joining us as well. Aarti is still with us. Sagarika is with us. Hejaz here with us for another 5 minutes before I promise to liberate him from servitude in this particular studio for the moment. Nilanjan, great to have you with us as well. Rajiv Pandey is with us, lawyer member of the BJP. Tuhin Sinha is joining us also. Range of BJP experts joining us for the next 1 hour, because, hey, the polls are saying that the BJP is winning. So, I guess they'll have a lot that they'll want to say. I'm also going to be dragging everyone's attention to one other major development that has actually happened today. And that development is almost direct challenge that the Congress party seems to have made to the Election Commission, accusing it of being unfair. And I'm sure Pawan and others will have a lot to say on that. Okay, before I come to various BJP experts whom we have with us, Pawan, the polls quite often are unanimous in dictating the trend. This time they seem to be almost unanimous in saying it's about 110 or thereabouts for the BJP, approximately 69-70 for the Congress party.
I spent a lot of time in Gujarat, Vikram. People in Gujarat, there is a strange fear. They refuse to open their mouth and say, "Nahi, theek hai, vote to ab dekhte hain kisko denge." They are never clear, never categorical about articulating their anger against this government. The only way they articulated the anger was by giving empty chairs to the Prime Minister in his rally, by not turning up at Sabarmati for the so-called seaplane stunt, and so on and so forth. I find exit polls to be the best entertainment after a hectic round of polling. So, that's my way of entertaining myself. So I'm enjoying it. But in this election, we saw the BJP running away from the narrative of Vikas, and Rahul Gandhi chasing the Prime Minister, pulling him back into the narrative. Come back, you keep paying your empty lip service to Vikas. Now we are questioning you on your Vikas. Why don't you give us answers? No. The Prime Minister kept hiding behind different excuses, different people.
Well, what happened in the election?
In Gujarat, and he was hiding behind
the election's
Poonawalla
over,
somewhere.
Pawan.
No, I am just trying to wrap it up. Election may be over, but Vikas and the talk of Vikas and the kind of narrative this country has to face will continue. We have to discuss that.
So hang on. I'm going to turn to that also, because has the narrative and the dimension of what is going to be discussed for the next 1.5 years leading up to 2019, does that change if these numbers are actually correct? That's an interesting point. But on the exit poll numbers themselves, Rajiv, would you want to come in on this? Do you think this would be as per your expectation?
No, it is.
Would you be disappointed?
No, it is lesser than expectation. I am telling you, in every state, if you are projecting 110 seats, I feel the actual results will be more than 130. What Khera Sahib has said, I am not going to attack Congress on all these things, that Rahul Gandhi was talking about Vikas. Who brought this temple hopping in this election? Not before election, he was not going to any temple. Who brought this caste equation? Who brought this reservation? I am very saddened that when I hear the Congress politicians only talked about caste. If you see 3 elections before, there was no caste. Forward, backward, reservation, OBC versus
who did what?
Patidar versus OBC versus SC. You see,
who did what? Who did what? Did it work? Did it not work? I promise you I'm going to come to all those issues. I just want to spend 5-10 minutes, if I may, on just trying to understand the numbers that we are seeing before us, and then we will come back and discuss all the issues. So looking at the numbers, and here's a question I'm going to throw to you, then I'm going to throw it to Ejaz as well, and maybe to him also. When the BJP goes in and says 150 is the target, now the advantage of doing something like that is you whip up your card, they get all enthused, they say, okay, we're chasing 150. The downside is that even if you get 108 or 110, which is what the exit polls are saying, will that be seen as being somewhat disappointing? A slide from 2012, falling short of the target that you have set yourself. Is that a problem?
No, we have to always set our target at the most. But I am saying, as far as the party's view is concerned, we are not going to get less than 130 seats. Our best performance in Gujarat was 127.
But even 130 less than the target that Amit Shah set himself.
No, 150 is the target. But I am saying at no stage of imagination.
Let me ask. Okay, so as I did say, we have lots of BJP experts on this panel. I want to ask all of them that same question. Ejaz, would you want to take a bash at that?
No, Vikram, we've been beating consistently, whether it's opinion polls, exit polls. In the last 3 years under Prime Minister Modi, we've beaten most of the polls most of the time. The exit polls and the opinion polls, the BJP has been bettering them most of the time. So in that sense, I agree with my friend Rajiv. But it's very clear.
110 goes to 115.
Pawan spoke about this narrative that the Prime Minister was running away from Vikas. If these exit polls are fair, and I think they're going to be bettered, then the people of Gujarat, the voters of Gujarat, have stamped what Vikas was all about, that he did not vanish, he did not go crazy.
Okay.
He was very much prevalent, and Modi and the BJP gave Vikas to Gujarat.
Okay. Tohin, same question, let me fire it to you as well. Setting expectations
Vikram,
too high, can that be a downside sometimes?
Vikram,
because will 109 or 108 be seen as, it's a victory, 100% it's a victory, there's no doubting that, and Himachal is a sweep for the BJP. But does it give people a sense that, oh well, slid a little bit and not as per expectations? Is that a problem? Potentially.
Not at all. Vikram, once you have ruled the state for 22 years, there would be phases where, the performance or the development is not as pacey as it was in another year. But then 22 years is a very long time in democracy. And even in a worst case scenario, 108 would not be a bad performance. But having said that, let me tell you that in the last couple of elections or the last couple of exit polls that you've had, whether that was in UP or in Punjab, while the exit polls got the trends right, they were still conservative insofar as predicting the seats were concerned. So going by that logic, if all your exit polls give BJP a win, the victory margin is going to be that much more higher. They've got the trends right, but they're still trying to play it safe, and it would easily be more than 130 seats, like Rajiv had mentioned.
Okay, very possible. I mean, with the slight rider that none of these are my opinion polls or our opinion polls, so that quick clarification there. Just wanted to get all of you to weigh in on the actual number versus expectations. Aarti, is that or you think 110 is a victory and a landslide in Himachal Pradesh? The BJP will be very happy if these numbers come to pass.
Well, so 2 points I want to make. One is, the scorecard at the end of the elections will be 2-0 in favor of the BJP, right? So that means a victory. And it's a defeat for the Congress, and in Himachal it's a terrible defeat for the Congress.
And coming after a series of other victories for the BJP all through 2017. So New Year's Eve,
emphatic.
on New Year's
So
Eve, the
it
BJP can rejoice in
reinforces-
saying 2017 was virtually a clean sweep for us.
Absolutely, and it
everything.
reinforces this whole thing of the BJP having a winning election machine, and Narendra Modi being a winner. Number two, I personally feel that this election has been so emotive. It's been so intense, the campaigning, and so many emotions have been whipped up: anger, Gujarati pride, polarization, Pakistan, and so on, that I feel that whoever wins, and it looks like the BJP, the victory will actually be decisive. And if you remember the UP exit polls, they were all giving like 220, 230, something like that to the BJP.
So
and
Tuin's
the
right.
BJP won
Exit pollsters are
325.
sometimes scared of saying it's a landslide
That's
victory.
right. That's right.
We've been betting
That's
the
right.
exit polls
I
most
think,
of the time.
I think, it's a remarkable achievement for the BJP. The unanimous trend is it's winning, and it's a remarkable achievement. This is the 6th consecutive victory for the BJP. It's only been bettered by the left front record in West Bengal, which won 7 times consecutively.
And
So, and Tripura. So this is a remarkable achievement for the BJP. It's six-time winner in a state and battling 22 years of anti-incumbency. So, it reinforces Mr. Modi's abilities as a campaigner, his abilities as a vote catcher, his abilities as a formidable head of an election machine. Also, what Rahul Gandhi can take away from this is he's come away with a good opposition template. I think he's found his voice, he's sincere, he's humble, he's working in his own comfort area. But at the end of the day, he's going to have to deliver election wins. I mean, winnability is going to have to be Rahul Gandhi's aim, because he can't go from defeat to defeat to defeat. In that case,
so
2019 is endgame for him. If 2019,
so it's like with the cricket match. It's like with the cricket match. You may say, "Oh, I batted really, really well, and I fielded wonderfully, and my bowling was great, but almost won." But the guy hit a last ball sixer.
What happens in 2019 if the Congress again slips to 44? I think then it's really endgame for Rahul Gandhi, frankly.
At the end of the day, it's the winning that matters.
At the end of it, I think it was one man who made all the difference. This was an election which started with a fairly, the BJP in a comfort zone, but somewhere in the middle, BJP was very uncomfortable. The discomfort was visible on the face of the leaders of the BJP. But if the exit polls turn out to be actually true, then it means, that everything is primarily because of Mr. Modi's charisma and the kind of campaign that he has done, intensive campaign since the 27th of November. Now, this has been an issue in terms of campaign where there have been issues have been talked about. There have been empty chairs in Mr. Modi's speeches. Despite that, if the BJP wins, which means that there is a certain amount of institutionalization of the BJP in the Gujarati electoral behavior. So this is very important.
So that's one point, however, that I'm going to turn to Pawan with. I mean, the Congress presumably may well
Can
feel.
I say one line?
Yeah,
Only
sure.
one line. I'm very sad when Sagarika as well as Sir said that election campaign machine. Why don't you say that the people like him as a development man?
But where was he talking about development?
No. This is the problem.
Where was he talking about
if
development?
he has not done development for 22 years, how he is winning? That's the main issue.
It's about trust, Rajiv. It's about trust. The people trust him that he is the man who will deliver and make their lives better.
Hang on.
That is the reason.
No, Vikram,
Saying
I
that
just
he's
want
got
to.
a formidable election machinery is not necessarily
It's not a negative thing.
That is a
the idea of a political party is to
have
win
a-
elections, and
with
therefore you've got a
development.
powerful
That's why people
machinery
are
that
supporting
can.
No, but Rajiv, I think you cannot rule out the organizational machinery.
No, that I agree.
helps the BJP.
No, but she has
and the
not said
BJP
that.
has
But
the
why is it not
added
a credit?
advantage. And the
She has
BJP
given
has
all
the
credit to
added.
Modi ji
No.
as a
Sagarika,
campaigner.
why does the Congress not have the machinery?
No.
My question is, why does the
She
Congress not
didn't.
have the
She
machinery?
didn't.
There is
What's
a
wrong with
merit
having a
that only
machinery?
you can sell. If you have no merit, if you can be a good campaigner and you will lose elections.
I'm still trying to understand
I
what's
don't
wrong
understand
with
what.
having,
I don't understand why that's
wrong.
why
What's
that's
wrong
a
with
problem.
having a powerful machinery?
As we were saying,
Why does the
Rahul
Congress
Gandhi-
have a machinery like that?
Voter
It's a valid
mobilization.
point.
Voter
By the way, it's a valid point. The
mobilization.
Congress should ask itself, why don't we have a
Why do we have a
machinery?
machinery like that?
Voter
Machinery and
mobilization.
development both. It
Voter
cannot be you have only
mobilization
machinery.
should lead
And
to
you stop
every
Vikram,
election.
pause,
Vikram, I
pause,
just want to say one thing. Remember what we said in the last program that we did, that the Gujaratis did say, "Hum गुस्से में हैं पर हम गद्दार नहीं है.
Yeah.
So in that way, I think that when push comes to shove, the Gujarati is angry, the Gujarati is discontent, but in the secrecy of the polling booth, will not vote against Narendra
But Pavan
Modi.
has a different
I think
theory.
that
He
says
says,
a lot for Narendra Modi.
Pavan, of course, a different theory. He
For
said
his
that this is the
developmental work in
exit
Gujarat.
poll. This is the exit poll, so they are still saying something, and
I-
in the privacy of the exit polls, it is something else. But hang
No,
on.
BJP
the question of the election machinery.
BJP rarely loses an exit poll. My point, I think
No,
I can
they've lost
understand what Rajiv is saying.
That's not quite true. They've lost exit polls in the
issue is
past.
no. I mean, his
No,
issue
they
is
actually
his issue is very clear. He doesn't
why
want the
in,
credit to
UP?
go just to Amit Shah with the election machine. He also wants Mr. Modi to have the credit. That's the internal issue.
Don't put words in my mouth.
No,
Please,
I
sir.
mean,
Make out
I
your
think
point.
what he was saying was it was a compliment. Every party should have a machinery. There's no doubt about that. And Congress definitely needs an
compliment. I
overall.
don't think so.
As far as
Every
the
party should
machinery-
ideally have. So here, okay,
Listen,
let me paraphrase what you're saying. Ideally, every party should have a strong leader, and we should start ticking this off. By the way, which party has which of these to enable them to win? Every party should have a strong leader. Every party should have a really good program, ideally and hopefully designed to help the people as opposed to something else. And every party should then have a machinery that takes the voters out and makes them
That's
vote.
right, absolutely.
Ideally, that's what a party should have. Now,
Yes.
I agree with you because you have added program
And there
word.
is a fourth-
She did not add program word. She said
No. There
is a
campaigner
fourth
and
aspect.
The program for
machinery.
better or for
That I
worse.
didn't
Vikram,
like.
there is a fourth aspect we are missing.
I don't see
Packaging.
what the problem was there.
Packaging, of course, is something
Okay.
which some parties have better packaging than others. Some parties have a better content, but not very good packaging. So that's where we differ.
Okay,
I mean,
let me just-
definitely yes.
Pavan, let me just interrupt you. I've got China NC joining us. China, I just wanted to ask you, you've seen the exit polls. I'm trying to understand what this means at a general and a broader level for the BJP and for the leadership of Narendra Modi, because again, Narendra Modi jumped into this election full on, right? The entire BJP central leadership was there. He staked everything at it. He staked a lot of personal pride on it. If these exit polls are correct, and most of them seem to be saying the same thing, BJP is winning, and it's about 110 odd seats. Would the Prime Minister take that as a vindication, and would he be happy with that, or would he feel that somewhere we fell short of what Amit Shah was hoping for, 150 plus?
Well, let me tell you outright, Vikram, for those of us who have spent over a month in Gujarat, we know the grassroots, what is happening in rural and urban Gujarat. And people feel that for 22 years, this government has performed, delivered. So where is there ever a question of any kind of anti-incumbency? Gone are the days when people used to vote on caste, creed, culture. And do believe me, for those who keep talking about these patidars and patels, BJP happens to be the single largest party in terms of membership world over, where we have 11 crore members, and a lot of them are patidars and patels too. So I think post UP we have to factor in one thing, which is people are not interested in caste-based politics. They are interested in strong leadership. They are interested in deliverability, accountability.
But China,
stability, and more important, good governance.
But China, if I could interrupt, a lot of the election campaign, though, especially in the last few days, turned rather nasty. There were all sorts of allusions, remarks being made, communalization, if you want to use that word, a slight denigration of opposition leaders, going all the way up to a former prime minister. That wasn't talking about development and a 22-year track record. That was talking about a lot of other things that were perhaps a bit more unsavory than that.
Well, I don't agree with your logic, because we have never ever swayed away from the development plank. And if at all, if you see even the farmers in Gujarat who have been given up to 3 lakh loans at 0% interest, if you talk about women, pregnant women who've got up to 6 months government support, it's historic. Look at the kind of difference in the lives of the Adivasi women, where they used to earn 8,000 and are earning 16,000 today. You look at Gujarat being #1 in terms of employment for continuous 14 years. And Prime Minister Modi has a soft corner for Gujarat, and most naturally so, as does our party president Amit Shah ji. So we're not going to.
But naturally, they're both very closely associated with Gujarat. But I'm trying to ask you.
We are going to stick to.
So I'm trying to ask you, Shaina, at the end of the day, see, we keep hearing before elections and in analysis, yes, this is the vote for development. Somehow, when you see the speeches and a lot of what was happening, that wasn't uppermost in what was being discussed or mentioned.
But this is bound to be the kind of rhetoric at the time of elections where you have people, coming up with their repartee and counter repartee. For every allegation, there is a counter allegation. And as they say, everything is fair in love and war. I think it's high time we move beyond this kind of petty rhetoric of who said what. We have enough, to suggest that the Prime Minister of this country, who is the elected representative of 125 crore Indians, was disrespected by comments like Neech Aadmi, etc. So I think the voter is very, very sharp. They want to know which party is going to make a difference to their real lives, and that is clearly the BJP.
Shana, okay.
There's a warning bell.
I want to refer to a warning bell.
I want to refer to the warning bell for the BJP, which is an equal warning bell for the Congress, and we were discussing this in the previous program, is that are these two parties interested in developing state-level leaderships? Because we've seen that while Mr. Modi continues to be very popular, Mr. Rupani and Ms. Anandiben Patel, that interregnum clearly has not worked, because the kind of momentum that Mr. Modi generated in 2014, we don't see that kind of momentum in the exit poll. Also, as far as the Congress is concerned, is Rahul Gandhi going to go everywhere in campaign, or are they going to empower state leaders? So I think the BJP, while it can rejoice in its victory, has to also introspect on the fact that it's Mr. Modi's victory. Mr. Modi's had to go there. Mr. Modi's had to personalize the campaign. Mr. Modi's had to make it about himself. And it really has not been the achievements of Mr. Rupani or Ms. Anandiben Patel.
Okay, with the strike riders aggregate, this is still exit poll time.
Exit poll, assuming that they're right.
Vikram, what is wrong in that?
Well, it's the Indira Gandhi model of only one woman show, one man show.
Slightly different. It differs from state to state.
No. So let me throw that. Nanjan, you want to add something to that? Then I want to throw it to both the BJP and to the
It differs from state to state. Before the advent of Mr. Modi, the BJP did have strong state leaders. They still have strong state leaders, at least in some states. Madhya Pradesh and Rajasthan, two states where it is going to come to power.
And in Chhattisgarh.
Perhaps in Maharashtra.
And perhaps in Karnataka also. Maharashtra, they are trying to build up.
UP. What about UP? What about Goa? We have every state, we have a very tall leader.
UP, you have a leader who was not a leader before the election.
That's why I said it's a warning bell. It's not a reality, it's a warning bell. Don't rely on one man.
No, but I would.
Every state, I can tell you, there is a very strong leader.
In fact,
Apart
BJP
from we have
is
a
the only
tallest
party
leader
which has a very solid.
No, but
Tuhin is trying to say something. Tuhin, what were you saying?
Vikram, on the contrary, the BJP is the only party which has a very strong second-rung leadership. Look at Uttar Pradesh, look at Maharashtra, look at Jharkhand. So, every state, and to be fair to Mr. Rupani, it's only been a year since he has been the CM. So, every state need not have a ready second-rung leadership. But then overall, if you compare the BJP with the Congress, the BJP is far, far ahead in terms of developing a second-rung leadership. So, that's frankly a non-issue at this point of time.
Okay, hang on. Pawan, Shana, let me just put this question to both of you. Is there something wrong with having states like Rajasthan where Rahul Gandhi has to go inside and think this election is really about him? And by the way, Pawan, from your point of view, is there a danger in constantly having to pit Rahul Gandhi against Narendra Modi, who is arguably one of the most dominant politicians we've had in the last 20 to 30 years? So it's a tough battle. When you make it a presidential battle, is that something which will always be very tough? Not just for Rahul Gandhi, but for any Congress leader to do.
No, I don't think it's a danger. In Punjab, Rahul Gandhi also went and Modi ji also went, and you know what happened. In Goa, both
Punjab, you had a strong local leader.
Goa.
Punjab is an exception. Punjab, you had a very powerful local leader.
You already have a BJP heavy panel. Let me at least finish.
Okay.
In Goa, both went, and you know what happened. Of course, after that, what happened is a different story. But end of the day, Congress won that election. So I don't think it's a danger. And you were talking about state level leaders in Gujarat. Congress has 5 very strong leaders, but you do require a central leader, whether it's the BJP or the Congress, to go and put everybody on the same page. There are always conflicts, there are issues, ego problems. So central leadership is a must. So I don't grudge Mr. Modi going to any state to campaign, just as Rahul Gandhi definitely should go to every state in campaign. Nothing wrong in that.
Okay, Shaina, you were also saying that there's nothing wrong with Narendra Modi going and saying, making every election virtually a referendum on himself. Is that something which you think going forward Gujarat is always would have been a very tough state for the BJP to lose. It's one of your strongest holds. Look at the margin in 2012 and the even larger margin in 2014. So it would have been a bit of a surprise. Of course, I'm still saying that the election counting is to still take place, which we'll find out on the 18th. With all of those health warnings, it is a tough thing. It is a tough thing for the BJP to really be losing Gujarat. But for Modi to make everything a referendum on himself, could that be a dangerous strategy when you come to states like Rajasthan, for example, or others, Madhya Pradesh?
No. I think that look at the work done in Gujarat. I mean, that itself is testimony to the fact that people would want to vote for this same government over and over again. And every time people question Prime Minister Modi and the campaign, I feel this is the height of insecurity. He is eventually the Prime Minister of India. So for God's sake, he will campaign in every part of the country, and especially his home state where he has been the Chief Minister for so long, where he has an attachment to the people. Why not? I mean, it's not as if he is going into some kind of a trip to campaign and disappear on them, unlike Mr. Rahul Gandhi, who has chosen trial and error and would probably after this election go off on a holiday again. Prime Minister Modi is here to stay, and he is here to stay for every single citizen of this country. It's understandable if you say that, why is he going to campaign overseas, for a particular issue or an agenda. That could be questioned. But
Okay.
this is his own country, his own state, and for his own people.
All right, fine. I don't want to turn my attention to something else, Pawan, and something which is causing many people disquiet is like the fact that the Election Commission as an organization and as an institution has been above politics, above reproach. The credibility of the Election Commission has virtually been sacrosanct for the last 25 years or thereabouts. Congress party has made some very strong remarks saying that that is not quite the way things have panned out in Gujarat. Is that something which you're going to take forward? Because there's a strong accusations to be making about the Election Commission.
Definitely, there are strong reasons for what we did. You see, when the first phase, the campaigning came to an end for the first phase, on the second day, which is on the 8th of December, they come up with their manifesto in Ahmedabad with Mr. Arun Jaitley and other ministers, Mr. Jitu Wagani and others releasing the manifesto and then holding a press conference. We kept quiet. We of course raised the issue even then, but Election Commission did not give them a notice or any such thing. Then yesterday, Rahul Gandhi's interviews, you saw what happened. FIRs against channels and notice to Mr. Rahul Gandhi. Amit Shah was holding a press conference at the airport, Ahmedabad airport, which is a public property. You cannot do that. Campaigning has come to an end. Allowed. Mr. Prime Minister this morning does that submarine program in the morning, telecast. Everything is telecast. The same channels which were telecast, which were showing Amit Shah's press conference, were not given notice for that, but they were given notice for Rahul Gandhi's interviews. I don't understand why. Today's roadshow, for example, 100 meters, there is a law. You cannot do it 100 meters from the booth. The man starts walking, waving, visually engaging with people. What was that? That was a roadshow. Yesterday, we went to the Election Commission last night. They were kind enough to meet us, to hear us out patiently. But no notice, nothing. No FIR against Mr. Jaitley, against Mr. Piyush Goyal, who held a press conference incidentally again. Why? So therefore, because of these strong reasons, we had to use strong words. And yes, we don't intend to give up.
Okay, let me get some reactions from the BJP. Do you think has there been a lack of balance? The way he puts it out, if you start penalizing one political party for infractions and the other party is allowed to get away with anything, that's where the questions start to come.
You see, Congress is in the habit of destroying institutions. In 2011,
anybody who subverts an institution is destroying it.
Yeah, I am saying the same thing. In 2011, Congress appointed one Thomas, whose appointment was quashed by Honorable Supreme Court of India. So they tried to destroy CVC. Now what they are trying to do to bring Election Commission, on these fights.
No.
These allegations have no basis. Election is already taken place.
Yeah,
And
so
now,
that, but
you
it's
know,
still an important issue. It's still an important issue to discuss.
Can I
because the
make
elections
one
are
more
over
point?
doesn't mean that
Even
we
in
don't
CBI,
fight
when there was
to
a Congress
protect
rule,
the
Supreme Court says
integrity of
it's
our
a case
institutions.
parrot. No,
I'm
allow me
sorry.
to complete, sir. When you
No,
were
no,
talking, I did
elections
not
is not
talk.
the end all
I
and
am
be
saying
all of
something
everything.
else.
For us,
Congress-
democratic institutions
Oh.
matter and the integrity
Sir,
of
when
these
you were
institutions
speaking, I did not
matter.
utter a single
For you,
word.
it may not matter. For us, it matters.
No, what
Sorry,
I'm trying
that
to
was
say,
my simple submission.
Congress destroyed CBI, Supreme Court said cased parrot.
You go and
Congress
appoint
destroyed
DK
CBC,
Singh,
you
former
appointed
army
a
chief
Thomas
as a
kind of
minister,
person.
former
Now
home
they are
secretary
trying to
as a
destroy,
minister. You are not
Election
destroying
Commission.
institutions.
Wait,
That is
wait,
there.
wait.
They are trying to bring Election Commission in this
Look
muddy
at how
fight.
you
See,
go and appoint
see.
CBI directors and
Oh, then
second
go
in
to
command.
Supreme Court, get it
doesn't
quest.
matter.
We have
Just
got
don't
it
talk
quest,
about
Thomas.
institutions.
Okay, can I?
The way you've destroyed every institution in a short
I remember
span of 3
Thomas'
years.
case of
Okay, let me
Supreme
get
Court.
let me get
Gujarat,
everyone.
The institutions in Gujarat. Where is your Lokayuk?
I remember
You
Thomas,
kept
sir.
killing
I remember
institutions in
Thomas
Gujarat.
2011.
You just talk
and it was
about
a
one
tight
Thomas,
slap
I'll
on
give you 10
Congress.
Thomases in Gujarat
Honorable Supreme
over
Court
the
said
last 22
CBI is a
years.
case
Okay, look,
parrot.
look, can
Honorable
I-
So
Supreme
when
Court
it comes to
quashed
killing
Thomas'
institutions, you
appointment by
can't.
Sonia Gandhi.
There is no match with
Wrong
BJP.
channel. Wrong channel. So if, we can, if I can just try and bring some law and order here, try and maintain the institution of a TV studio at least for a moment. Although I'm not quite sure what an institution of a TV studio is supposed to be right now. This is actually probably in keeping, but still. Let me just get everyone else to quickly weigh in on this point. Shaina, let me get you in on this. It's not the first time that this government has actually been accused of subverting institutions for political reasons. You've been accused of doing that with everyone ranging from this CBI, all governments have been accused of, ED perhaps, income tax, but the Election Commission, which has tried to keep above party lines, for that to be accused of bias is a new one in the last 20-25 years. So therefore, these are probably this is a serious moment, and those charges are serious charges.
Let's not get into conspiracy theories, please. Every allegation that is substantiated with proof is something that needs to be addressed. The Election Commission has always worked in a free and fair way. I remember after the UP elections, how many people cried foul and said, oh, EVM tampering. Now, the Election
But those
Commission
allegations
has
haven't
had
gone
an
away. By the way, the
absolute training
EVM
to suggest there can be no EVM tampering.
I get
That's
it, I get it, but I'm saying the fact
just
that
finish my-
the fact that those question marks are still around means that for the first time in 20-25 years, there's a question mark hanging over the impartiality of the Election Commission, and it's a day that many of us had hoped would never come back, where you would actually have a question mark of people questioning the Election Commission. Rightly or wrongly, I'm saying that right now, rightly or wrongly.
So, well, let me just finish my point. If a party feels that there is some wrong, of course they can go to the Election Commission and complain. But the Election Commission is a free and fair body to decide whether that complaint is legitimate or not. Every party is going to feel they're right. I think that we need to understand that the beauty of a democracy such as ours, which is so vibrant, there are results which go both ways. Look at Delhi. Did we cry foul and say that that was EVM tampering? We didn't. Look at Bihar. We accepted the mandate of the people. Despite the fact that the Prime Minister's growing popularity and vote share of BJP has not dropped in a single state. I mean, not even by a minuscule few % in a state like Delhi, which is small. But other than that, we have not dropped anywhere. So
But actually, if the exit polls are correct, you have dropped in Gujarat. Just a small pointer. China, just to be factually correct, if you've been praising the exit polls till now, if the exit polls are correct, you have dropped in Gujarat. Not enough to lose the election, but you have dropped in Gujarat.
Do you believe the exit polls is the point?
Yeah.
Exit polls is
You
a small
can't believe it when it's
sample
saying
size
you're
which
winning
you
and
know
not
I
believe
know.
it when it says you're
And you
dropping.
cannot-
China, come on, that's a bit
We will do
unfair.
better than exit poll.
Same
That is our
exit
view.
poll, same exit poll. You're absolutely happy with it when it says you're winning. You say, yeah, but you can't believe it because it's saying we're dropping votes. Now, okay, we'll find
I'll
that
tell
out.
you the reason.
All right, let me just come on the institution point.
Yeah.
Hang on, let me just come to all of
No,
you
I'm
and get
saying that
everyone's
we get
take.
much more than what's on these exit poll of
All
yours.
right, we'll find out. 18th we will
Vikram,
know.
I think the
18th we'll know.
I
The
think
exit
the
poll,
onus is on the Election Commission to uphold itself as an institution. And these question marks on the...
You heard Pawan's charges. Do you think
But
he has a
it's-
point?
No, it's not just now. The question mark about the, Election Commission's impartiality started from UP. When questions were raised about the EVMs, and I'm afraid
But
that
EVM
and I'm
tampering has
afraid,
never been proved.
No, it's never been
Aarti,
proved.
there's a
But
slight
no,
difference.
I
What
agree.
he's saying about a mismatch.
No, then there were questions about the announcement of dates. the fact that, you know, the EC decided to dehyphenate Himachal and Gujarat, and, you know, actually it seemed that the EC was giving the government time to announce more schemes and more SOPs and things for the people of Gujarat. So these questions have remained, and I'm afraid the EC has not answered these questions to, you know, to really clear itself and to uphold its impartiality. And that is why today you're seeing this unfortunate day.
Okay, I'm coming to Tuhin in a minute, but Sagar, if I could just ask you, you know, leading off from what he said, EVM tampering is not something that there is any evidence as of this moment to support. That the EVMs are being tampered, or that they're being hacked, or that there's Wi-Fi, Bluetooth. None of that is being substantiated or proved in any way. What Pawan was referring to right now, however, there are question marks about it, that if FIRs are being sent in one case, why are they not being sent in another case? Is there more reason to worry about some of the things that he was saying?
You know, as we're saying, the integrity and the impartiality of the Election Commission of India has to be safeguarded to the nth degree, because it is the cornerstone of democracy. If we cannot protect our electoral process, then we can't protect our democracy. And if we can't protect our democracy, then what are we talking about? So the Election Commission is absolutely vital to our democracy. Now, as we've been pointing out, because of the manner in which the dates were not announced, because of the manner in which the Election Commission has acted, and as you rightly say, you know, when FIRs are threatened against TV channels that are going to carry Rahul Gandhi's interview, and nothing is done about a so-called road show which is held on polling day, then obviously questions will arise.
Or a press conference on the same channel.
Or the press conference on the same channel. But I think the issue really is that the Election Commission...
Yeah, Tuhin, I'm just coming to you.
The Election Commission doesn't have a set of transparent and open guidelines. You know, it acts in a very knee-jerk way. So-and-so has violated the poll code, you know, crack down on him. So-and-so has violated the poll code, crack down. It's very knee-jerk, it's very arbitrary. I think what needs to happen is a systematic, codified, you know, a manual of what constitutes a fair campaign. This is a fair campaign, and
let me get to it.
This is what everybody has to follow, but it doesn't seem to be, the parties don't seem to be aware of it, and the EC is not upholding it strongly enough.
Okay. Tuhin, in the last few days, has there been a slight mismatched reaction by the Election Commission, which is therefore giving grist to what the Congress is saying, that it's not been acting in an entirely fair manner? Tuhin? Tuhin, can you hear me? No. Tuhin, I think Tuhin...
Yeah, the voice is not clear.
Yeah, I was just asking you for your reaction to this. Okay.
You know, by casting aspersions on the Election Commission, many of these journalists do a great disservice to their own efforts of undermining Modi. Because please understand that if Congress is going to lose these elections, it's not because of the impartiality of the Election Commission at all. What has happened, if you look at the entire narrative, and especially the way things have panned out towards the end, the battle has really been between politics of transformative governance and politics of rabble-rousing. What has happened essentially is that Rahul Gandhi had issues with GST, fair enough. You know, there were initial teething issues, but then his whole approach in criticizing or ridiculing it has been so childish, it has been so puerile that it has rather put off people. That is the real issue. So, you know, when your criticism or when your ridiculing of GST has not worked, the next best option that you have is to cast aspersions on the Election Commission or the EVMs, but that unfortunately does not work.
Okay.
What Rahul Gandhi needs to do at this point of time, if you look at the narrative, is to go beyond ridiculing Modi. You know, that's what has not worked for him.
Okay, I'm going to ask Nilanjan this.
Tuhin must have been in school when Mr. Modi said James Michael Lingdo. What was that? Do you remember that? Have you read that? I think most of my fellow panelists would agree. That was the first major attack on the Election Commission, personalized attack. We are not doing any such thing. We are just questioning the integrity. We are just trying to restore the integrity, and we are questioning the conduct of the Election Commissioner. We don't want to politicize
Which
the
is
issue.
it? Are you questioning
No,
the
we are,
integrity
no,
or
no,
are you
we are
questioning the
questioning the
conduct? You just
conduct
said you were
and we are
doing
trying to
both. Which
restore
one are
the
you doing?
integrity. I think I was very clear about that. We are trying to restore the integrity and we are questioning the
his full
conduct.
name.
Restore the
What is wrong in
integrity
that?
means restore the integrity means
Which
that you're
is
doubting
being-
the integrity.
Of course we are. We are questioning it. I'm telling you we are questioning the conduct of the election commission.
But
Very
as a
clear.
journalist,
But
as
we
a
did not
journalist-
politicize
Conduct,
it.
you're
Vikram, as
We
a
did not go
journalist,
about
I have to
campaigning
say-
and talking about the election commissioner the way Mr. Modi as Chief Minister of Gujarat said James, Michael, Lingdo and tried to polarize it. But the name, the community of the election commissioner was used by Mr. Modi in the elections in Gujarat. We haven't forgotten that. You may have.
You know, I just want to say as a
Nilanjan,
journalist,
he hasn't had a chance to weigh in yet.
You know, I have been hearing, you know, since morning, you know, from the time Mr. Modi went to vote and thereafter took out that roadshow, this entire issue of Mr. Modi being a very popular leader has been consistently talked about by BJP spokespersons. Now, the point is that if you are a popular leader, you must also respect your popularity. You should not use your popularity to do things which which constitute violating law. Mr. Modi was shown in the television screens waiting for his turn to go and cast his vote, and he was waving hands to people who were obviously waving to him. This is something which you are not supposed to do. Now, the point is that after having done that and after having walked around, after having voted, very similar to 2014 when he came out and took a selfie of his and then tweeted about it, it is up to the election commissions to act like the watchdog. It is neither watching nor is it acting like the watchdog. So, it is up to the election commission to restore the faith throughout the entire Gujarat campaign. There was one recurring theme of the people. I am not saying that there is any evidence of EVM tampering, but this fear of is ki hum kuch bhi karenge, the vote will be eventually for the BJP.
And it's important for the election.
Why should
what
this?
is happening
Because
to the image of the election
theoretically it's the
commission?
press which is supposed to be a watchdog, but
why
quite
should-
often the press is not a watchdog, it's a puppy dog, and therefore as a result of that we need to be...
Why should people always start selling a conspiracy?
Vikram-
No, and Vikram,
because
on this
why-
EVM
I-
question, I don't think the election commission has answered it fully
They've-
to
to be-
people's satisfaction.
They've
be fair,
tried
they've
to
not
show
done
it
it.
to people.
I'm not
They've
saying
not
that
done
not
it.
all.
They have not done
But
it.
Vikram,
That
I
is
just
why
want to say one
questions
thing.
remain even
I mean,
today.
to threaten FIRs against television channels who are telecasting an interview,
Absolutely
I
not
think
called for.
really
Absolutely not called for.
unacceptable. And as a journalist, as someone who believes in the freedom of the press, I
And
believe
not following the
this
same
is
rules for the ruling
absolutely
party is my
unacceptable.
fundamental question.
Threatening
Okay.
FIRs
Why didn't you
against
do the
television
same
channels
when
is
it came to Amit
unacceptable.
Shah's press bites?
All right, fine. Still a lot to talk about whether whether the campaign has been good, bad, ugly. But at the end of the day, I just want to bring everyone back before we conclude this program to those numbers that are flashing out there. A BJP landslide in Himachal Pradesh, which I don't think anybody is really questioning. BJP ending up with somewhere between 107 to 112 seats in Gujarat. That's what the exit polls seem to be saying. Yes, I know many in this panel have said, well, exit polls sometimes underestimate it. I'm not sure how they can underestimate the Himachal number. Well, actually, they could theoretically. Maybe the BJP win all the seats in Himachal, as the Aam Aadmi Party did in Delhi. But that's a clear-cut landslide. Gujarat, China, final words from you. If these exit polls turn out to be correct, would you be happy? Would you be sad? Would you feel could have done better? Or would you have said, look, we won virtually everything in 2017. It's been a great year. We're going to go and have a party now. Or the equivalent.
We will do even better than this exit poll, and this is not just overconfidence, but this is the belief that the people of Gujarat have made a referendum on choice of a stable leadership, good governance and a strong leader. And let me please assure you that when I said that, exit polls, the sample size is much smaller than what the rest of Gujarat is. But for those who have only been criticizing and bashing and, coming up with all kinds of derogatory commentary, this will be a testimony to the fact that the Prime Minister is still the most popular leader in India, the most charismatic leader and clearly the most hardworking.
But by the way, he's also been accused of contributing to exactly that same rhetoric that you've been talking about right now, Shaina, including in the last few days.
Well, that can be your assessment.
No, it's not my assessment. It's what Manmohan Singh, the former Prime Minister, has directly accused him of. I'm quoting Manmohan Singh, who's the former Prime Minister.
Organizational.
It's not my opinion one way or the other.
At the grassroots level and at the polling booth is something which is phenomenal, thanks to our party president Amit Shah ji. And I really think that in the days to come, to see how elections are to be fought. People will do case studies on how the BJP has won repeatedly, because this is a mandate which is historic. 27 years in any democracy, in any part of the world, is truly historic.
All right, China, thanks for joining us with that perspective. I'm going to come back to it, Prime Minister. Sagrika, overall assessment of this, and what she just said by saying people will write case studies on that. What will the case study in Gujarat actually say? How do you use the correct rhetoric, the correct language to be able to convince voters to vote for you? Is that what the case study will be? Will the case study be, in making sure that people are invested in you and in your party so strongly that they may be angry with you, but they'll never vote against you? Is that the case study? Or will the case study be, this is how you should actually convert support into votes by being able to get out the voters? All of the above. What will the case study be? Development. Develop the state and get that functioning.
Development.
Which of these will be the case study?
I think the case study is just how to fight an election. The BJP fights elections like it fights wars. They do it on a war footing. They're incredibly aggressive. Mr. Narendra Modi and Mr. Amit Shah fight elections 24/7. He's a 24/7 politician, and they have their election management down to a T. So I think in that sense, Mr. Modi has tremendous, let's not forget, Mr. Modi is still India's Neta number one. There's no two ways about that. His popularity, his charisma, the way he projects himself, he may attract a lot of criticism. He may attract a lot of negative opinion from a lot of people. But he is India's Neta number one. There's no two ways about that.
Okay.
And he works at his popularity. Even the way he tailored his campaign towards the end. Yes, it was. Many would say it was, some of the words were atrocious. But clearly they, perhaps if these numbers are right, worked as far as the voters are concerned. When as far as Mr. Rahul Gandhi is concerned, I believe there again, the message is coming again and again, empower the state leadership.
Okay. Nilanjan, a victory for Narendra Modi, or will he be disappointed of a slide? But at the end of the day, you've been saying consistently that the BJP may well have lost if he hadn't gone in and put his muscle behind it.
I think at the end of it, this entire election is going to prove that Mr. Modi is the single most important factor for the BJP to keep on winning elections. It is his unique mixture. This is one election which the BJP had to, was almost lost for the BJP, but for Mr. Modi. Okay. So he's gone and been able to revive feeling among the people that this is our government. This is the government which represents my aspirations and is, part of my identity.
Okay. Tuhin, if these exit poll numbers are borne out and the BJP does have a landslide in Himachal Pradesh and a victory in Gujarat, which means it's been a really, really successful 2017. Shaina was saying there's a case study in this. What do you think the case study would be?
Well, as various surveys have corroborated over a period of time, this further reinstates the faith the people of the country have in the present leadership. I mean, it's amazing that we have taken steps which have made things a little bit difficult for people over a period of time. But then people believe in our transformative agenda, and that faith is enormous. So if a case study were to be drawn, it's going to be a case study between politics of transformative governance versus politics of vacuous rabble-rousing.
Okay. Transformative governance as opposed to vacuous rabble-rousing. Pawan?
No, I can't comment on this. The only thing is...
Okay, what would be the lesson from this?
If they win, there's a huge if there, people of Gujarat will definitely feel mal-represented, if not unrepresented, because this is a management-driven victory and not a genuine victory. I refuse to see this as a genuine victory. And therefore, I see a lot of social unrest coming up, because when politics stops representing you or your aspirations, things really change.
All right. They'll feel mal-represented.
Whatever he says, what I feel personally, even if this number comes, first time, not only Congress tried all tricks of caste, reservation and other things. Apart from Congress was backed by all NGOs of the whole country who has pathological hatred for Modi ji and BJP. all NGO, all journalists who have pathological hatred, if BJP gets more than 120, I think they will be
Physical
I think these are very serious statements.
All NGOs, all journalists, the whole world against us.
You know, this is just too much.
All farmers, all tribals, all Dalits.
No, I said who have pathological hatred. What I'm trying to say, there may be some people who are genuine, who are independent. What I said.
Anybody who
that
is not with them
NGO
is not genuine.
No, I'm not saying that.
That is what you are imputing.
Any word of criticism and you have pathological hatred.
Pathological hatred. Who is having pathological? You can criticize. We are in democracy. We are bound to differ with each other.
You are not
we are
talking
bound
as
to
if you are
differ with
talking
each
in a
other.
different
But anybody who has pathological hatred,
You know,
they will
this
feel
is
very
very
different has a
difficult.
pathological
this
All right,
victimhood.
fine. We are over.
The victimhood
Last word.
politics.
Somebody,
Last word.
you have pathological hatred, yes or no? Last word. No? Okay, fine.
No, but you know, listen,
On
Vikram,
that
no,
triumphant
one
note, I'm gonna
last
bring
word.
this-
I want to say that the BJP seems to have perfected a template for winning elections.
Perfected
And-
the template for winning elections, and that perhaps
an
is
exit
the
poll,
case
please.
study. So I'm going to pause it there just
If
for a
the
moment.
exit
We're going to
polls are
continue,
correct,
obviously,
yes.
to discuss the exit polls all the way through. Nidhi is on next. I'll be back at 9:30. We'll continue to take a look at what these exit polls actually mean.